Welcome to the shooting show. This week we're protecting an oilseed crop from pigeons and crows with Top Gun, Gerwyn Jones.
We're in the Thames Valley today, back in the Thames Valley I should say. I had a call from the keeper a couple of nights ago saying there's a lot of pigeons overflying this area going out to some rape, but they're also landing on this field that we're on now. This is quite a big field, it's actually 100 acres exactly, got a few trees dotted amongst it. It's a good field to shoot, I've shot it in the past. So what we're going to try and do is set up out here in the middle of the field and intercept the pigeons on their way out and on their way back. There's a lot of blacks out here as well. So if we can shoot a few crows whilst we're at it as well, it'll do some good. We're quite close to a large city here. So what you get is, you've got the urban pigeons coming out of everybody's gardens, which come out. That's why this farm, well this estate I should say, always has lots and lots of pigeons on it, and they always get lots of crop damage. So we're here just to try and obviously keep those down. And you often find that with a lot of the big bags that are shot in the last few years, they're relatively close to large cities. You know, you talk to any of the boys, there's some friends of mine up north have shot some monstrous bags. It's always on the edge of a big city. Birds coming out, the birds that everybody sees nesting in their gardens, having their three little broods every year. Funnily enough, I've just got a brood this week has come out now. We're sort of in, you know, back end of November, and third brood this year from my garden alone. So obviously they're still massively on the increase. But like I said, it's a good field. I've not got massive expectations for a huge bag, but you never know. This place, you know, we've had some very, very large bags here ever. But just you know, if we can get 50, 60, you know, we'll have a good day. If we can get more, it's a bonus. We might, you know, I don't want to tempt fate by saying that we might not get any, but I've said it before. But if you look out across these fields, a lot of these nets that people build are way too green. You know, there's as much yellow in the grass as what there is green. You blend these in, makes a big difference. Saying that, birds are colourblind, so I think maybe we're the ones that get sucked in, not the birds. There we are, that'll do. Right. Put a couple of There's a great flight line. Basically, where I'm facing, you can't see with the camera, but where I'm facing is a wood that's got a pheasant pen in it, and we can't shoot that now. But I shoot that in the summer, and that line it's the main central line through this estate. We're a couple hundred yards off that for obvious reasons. We can't scare the pheasants. So that's what the plan is to pull them. But you know, they're on this field. I came over yesterday afternoon about 1 o'clock, and there was a good 300-400 pigeons on here and as many crows. So we'll see. We'll give it a go. They're just a standard decoy. You just shove these in. Got a little counterweight then, and they just hook over the branches. They're quite knacky. These things years. We'll stick these out on the edge. And what you've got to watch as well is that you don't put them to a height that you can't get them down afterwards. That can be tricky. As you'll see later, especially if the wind gets up, it's a lot of fun. So what we're going to do, hides there, just going to build a little pattern here and just put the whirly down there just to the one side. And then hopefully what they'll do is come into the pattern. If they go to the whirly, they go to the whirly, but the whirly's here to pull them really, not actually to decoy them. Now these pigeons aren't the best, but they'll do. They'll do to start. Ideally, it's nice to have them immaculate. The neat of the pigeons, they always seem to pull them in better. So we put it here, they'll be able to see it from pretty much everywhere. It's nice to have the white bars on the neck. That's not the greatest, but you can see the white things in. And always tilt them inwards on a whirly, never outwards. You get to some areas, if there's a lot of pigeon guides in the area and stuff like that, and they shot a lot, you may as well go and stand out there and run around in the middle of the field. These things are just like putting a scarecrow out. But when you do them properly, don't overuse them. And it's about shooting pigeons, not scaring them. You know, when you're shooting pigeons, always start, you know, just shoot them as they come in. Don't shoot at the 50, 60 yarders to start off with. Just build your bag up quietly. You know, a lot of people I've seen, and mates I've taken out, etc., that they've gone out and just been stuck in the corner of a field with guides and left their own devices. They've never really been taught anything differently. But, you know, I was really lucky with mates, you know, when I started shooting pigeons that showed me the way, you know, Richard Lovell, Peter Schwert, you know, best boys in the business. I taught, you know, taught so much off them, and they'll tell you, you know, whirlies overused are really bad. You know, some people these days now will just go out, like Jeff Jarrett, great example. Jeff does it all with fieldcraft and statics and all that, and kills great bags. And I think because he's the only one probably that shoots on his estate, it's, you know, he can get away with that. Sometimes you do need these to help you pull them in. You don't have to, but I'm not good enough to do it without. I like to have a whirly and just a bit more movement. Zenith 32.5 standard fibre. Going to start with them. These are my go-to late season grouse load. I love them. They're brilliant shells. See what happens. What time is it? quarter past 10. Actually, that's not bad. Ferals or woodies? Ferals. Ferals, aren't they? Here's a pigeon coming now. No, it's a feral. I think we got a pidge coming now. 12 o'clock low. Yeah, there's a lot here now at the moment. I'm not going to blank anyway.
Yeah.
Right, what's that lot going to do? Where did that pidge go? Must have flown by. I grew up in mid Wales. So Grandad had a farm. We had a small holding originally, and then we bought a farm. Well, Mum and Dad bought a farm. Then later on, but myself and my best mate, we were obsessed with it. We had ferrets, spaniels. We're just out every night after school, whatever, shooting ducks off the river, whatever, just all wild stuff, all down in the valley where we lived. But there was never any pigeons of any note. You might go and shoot one or two. And then as I got older, started sort of buying DVDs and stuff, and Jeff Jarrett, I think, was one of the first ones I ever saw. And that was, I was down in London then. But I thought I'd sort of get into it. So I started off just by going out with guides, but I met Richard Lovell, thankfully, who's brilliant, down in Wiltshire. And through him met Peter Schwert, and the two of them took me under their wing and shot with them for years on and off. I still do. And then I left London and gradually sort of got my own permission on different places. But Schwerty and Richard basically were like the two best mentors you could ever have. Like, them two have forgotten more about pigeon shooting than most people will ever know. And you just learn, you know, you learn things yourself. You know, it's just like you said, growing up on a farm and that, you've either got fieldcraft or you haven't. I think that's a lot of it. You can equate it to standing on a pheasant peg, you can equate it to standing in a grouse butt, you can equate it to so many different things, even fly fishing. You know, stalking up on fish instead of blethering your way down the bank, you know, talking is, I think if you've grown up like that, you've just got a slight advantage over people perhaps that haven't, I don't know. Right, one coming very, very tight right. He's going to come low from the right towards the whirly now. My good old trusty, one of the Perazzi MX-12s, 32-inch, super full, fixed choke. As everybody knows by now, probably I use this for absolutely everything, or pigeons, grouse, high pheasants, traditional pheasants, whatever. And just change the cartridges. I love them. I've shot hundreds and hundreds of thousands of cartridges through these guns. Super full, yeah, 42 thou. They're fixed, no multi-chokes.
Do you ever feel it's a bit tight for
No,
everything?
no, I get asked that all the time. And people say, I bet you blow things up. Well, you don't. You get a long shot string. And people have this misconception about when they shoot things. I was always kind of, people asked, you know, how much lead you give that, you know, blah, 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 blah. I don't see any lead or anything. I just basically look at the bird, track the bird, and come off it at the same speed. But with the choke, to me, choke is more about lengthening the shot string than anything else. I'm not too worried about it tightening the pattern, because if you're precise, you'll get it, and you'll throw, to me, I imagine a javelin flying through the air. So, especially on high pheasants and long range stuff, you don't kill birds by putting, people say, oh, you hit that. Well, that's not what you want to be doing. You want that bird to fly into that shot string, and then you kill it straight in the vitals in the head, and it's stone dead, and it falls out the sky. And they go, oh, what about your pattern? And you hit it, and it's irrelevant. You get a long, tight shot string, and that bird flies into it, doesn't matter what range it is, as long as it's still traveling, you'll kill it. And I think people are so obsessed with quarter choke for close stuff and half choke for, and blah, 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 blah. And I've worked out what cartridges pattern well through this gun. And when I say pattern, I've never fired a pattern plate in my life. I just use it here in a pigeon hide. So you can tell by your kills. But you know, when you've got a short horizon on a Scottish grouse moor, people say, oh, yeah, I might miss an odd one or two, but then you can shoot them further, going out the back, and you kill them cleanly. But there's definitely times where an open choke on a short horizon would be an advantage, but I think that for that one time that happens, there's another 20 times where it's much more advantageous to get more choke, I think. And you look at Richard Folds, shoots full choke. He's one of the best game shots you'll ever see. And that says enough to me. You look at a lot of the guys, you go down the West Country, and you look at the guys that pull the big ones down, they're all choked up. They're all 3/4 minimum. But that's, to me, it's a long shot string. Are they going to go to the crows? No, this is coming, mate. See him? 12 o'clock. Bobby, stop it. He's turned back. Didn't he like it? He's coming. Hoppy, shut up. Right, let's see if that stirs things up. Come here. Got a high one coming here, mate. Drop in for a look. Hoppy, we'll have to have words. You're like a rabbit in a purse net. Crazy thing. Sit there now, sit. Right, we all settled down now? Look at this one coming in.
Sunshine, man.
That came in well, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Beautifully.
We got a load of pidgeys coming here, mate, anyway. Or blacks, actually, here. Jackdaws. No, never touched it. Never touched it. Not close enough. And got a jam cartridge. There. I need new ejector springs again. We'll take the left one if it comes. Another one coming, mate. Same line, bit higher. Yeah, not quite. I thought we'd see a few more pigeons by now.
Yeah. Tell me again, what's the time? How long we've been here?
We've been here an hour. We've shot, what we shot? 4 or 5 blacks and similar pigeons. Yeah, about 11 head. They're not more. I didn't expect them to move that early, but I thought we might just see a little bit more movement than what we've got. But see what happens over the next hour. I'm going to nip out in a minute and put some of the crows out on cradles.
Yeah, that might help.
Good girl. Good girl. Fetch him on. Oh, well done. Shouldn't not be bring crows. Good girl. Good girl. Well done, you. Go and get another one. Good girl. Dead. Come on. So you got the crows that were out in the long grass and put them up on some cradles with their wings hanging down on a couple of them. They're on the tall cradles and it just flaps around a bit. So might give us, well not might, it will give us a bit more movement. And I moved the whirly to the left as well. The sun's out, so it'll stand out more now. So the pigeons are coming from this big line over here. I did expect to see more coming from that way as well, but they haven't really come from that way. So we'll see what happens, but there's something coming now. Jones.
What's your favourite shooting? You do a lot of game, don't you?
Grouse. Grouse, my favourite. Grouse and grouse, pigeons, wild stuff. I love shooting wild stuff. I love the really high pheasants as well. I'm not, if there was, I was very, very lucky, shot wild greys, and that's just amazing. But grouse, definitely, if it comes to one quarry, I don't think anything can replicate it. These are good on a windy day, but I don't know, grouse are just so much stronger. And it's just the surroundings you're in with grouse as well, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Love it all. I think we're just lucky. I think we're lucky in this country as well because it's so diverse. Oh, another unlucky one. Feral. This might be a woody come in like stink. No, it's a feral. Or is it a wood? I can't tell out of the sun.
I don't know, it's difficult.
Yeah, I think it was a wood. No, it's a feral. It's a feral. And, is that a feral? Yeah. That's not. Oh, I should have had that, mate. Should have had that. Good girl. Good girl. The two of them, her and her mum together, they do some hoovering. Good girl. She got it. Good girl. So this is why we didn't get as many as we thought we were going to, and beach mass basically. So they've been coming onto this field here where there's a lot of maize spread in the middle of it, but they haven't really come from the woods yet. Even though there's been a lot of birds feeding on this, we're surrounded by woods. I think what they're doing, they're just dropping in, building up, going back to the woods. So when we started shooting, they just basically stayed in the trees. That's the reality of it, which it potentially was always going to happen, but there was enough here to warrant giving it a go. We've got 40 pigeons or 39 pigeons, and I don't know what we've got, 15, 16 crows, something like that. So not the biggest of days by any means, but still not a bad day to get out. Nice to get out again after having been out on the Pidgeys for a while, so it's quite nice to do that anyway. It wasn't the day I hoped for. There's a lot of pigeons and crows been here over the last week or so. It was a gamble because obviously there's still an awful lot of acorns and beech mass around, but I thought it was worth the risk. But it turned out it wasn't. Saying that, we got 39 pigeons, 15, 16 crows, I think. I haven't done a sweep yet around the edges, but I'll do that after. So not a complete disaster by any means, but nice to get out actually, nice sitting hide. Yeah, it's been good. It's been a nice, enjoyable day, but was not. I was thinking there might be 3 figures involved today, but that's the way it goes. I'm afraid that's pigeon shooting. It's why we love it, I suppose. But anyway, there's a few less of the grey marauders to harass the crops, as they say.
Well, that's it for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter, and do ring that bell for more videos. And if you're not a member of Basque, you know the drill. Basque, looking after your sport, looking after you. It's time to join now. This has been The Shooting Show.